Hi, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hi, Melissa. It is good to be here.
Yeah, thanks so much for taking the time to chat with me.
My pleasure.
I'm interviewing people who have published books because I want people in the group to know that they can do it too.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so let's start by just introduce yourself. Tell me
My name is Michael, and I've been writing a long time, and I spent a very long time pursuing traditional publishing,
Mhm.
and I came very close. I really did. I had a few agents interested and a small publishing company. And then ultimately I turned them down. I was in a writing group. So it's been a long journey to get here. But in the last 2 years, I have embraced self-publishing.
Mhm.
So much so that it's like, man, why didn't I do this earlier in a way? And so in this past year, I published my first book, Joyful Heart Gratitude Journal. And it's an exciting time. I'm learning so much. I'm making mistakes. I'm doing some things right. It's like a whole mix, but
How long has it been out now?
It's been out about 8 months or something like that officially. I didn't tell anyone at first. So
oh really? Oh, that's interesting.
It's kind of
why not?
Because it's gone through a few iterations. This was the very early iteration, and then I've improved the cover, and there's been a few. So this is my book. I'm really happy with it. It's now being used in a recovery center and a wellness center, and I've had 3 life coaches tell me they're buying it for their clients.
Wow.
And it's selling in about 5 stores here in San Francisco where I live. So it's picking up some momentum.
That's great.
But it didn't start out with that momentum. Right. So that's why I didn't tell people.
Well, that's why I wanted to, that's what I want to talk about, because that's so awesome that you did this, but I know that it's been a journey. So, so tell me a little bit about what it's about. I mean, we see the cover, so it's a journal. So there's a lot of white space, so people actually fill it out in the.
There is a fair amount of space.
Oh, okay. So there's still a lot of text.
Yeah, I mean it's got some. It's not just a blank journal. It's got some meat to it. The intention of this book is to really help people access a natural sense of gratitude with just a very simple daily practice for 60 days where they, instead of going, okay, I've got to list 80 things I'm grateful for and I should do this, it's more like giving your heart to just 1, 2, or 3, really. And so it leads you through very simple, user-friendly guided meditations to bring your attention onto things that you're truly grateful for in as natural a way as possible, where you're not struggling. It just bubbles forth. And then intermixed with that, there are some walking meditations that you can do maybe throughout the week. And that puts you in a good mood. There's no question about it. And then once you're there, then the other component is a spiritual, metaphysical component of the law of attraction, where you're focusing on things that you want and that you're grateful for. And that naturally puts you in a space to emit a signal to attract more of what you want.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that's very cool. So tell me, how did you decide to write and publish it? What was the inspiration?
It was a few things. One thing was just before I was working on this book, I was working on a big book, Michael's big, my big book of just how to have a breakthrough and how to bring joy and heart-centeredness and unravel years of negativity, how to bring joy into daily life. That's been my passion for many years. You go to a workshop or you go to your Zen retreat or whatever, and then Monday rolls around. So how do you how do you bring that joy? So I was almost finished with this book. It is almost finished, but then I was like, and by then I had decided to self-publish, but I realized I didn't know anything about self-publishing, or hardly anything. And it was, I didn't want to have my big book be the guinea pig for self-publishing.
Oh, yeah.
So I honestly just went, let me just write something bite-sized, something relatively simple, and self-publish with that. So that was the initial inspiration, so I could learn much more about self-publishing. But then something took over, and it was like I found myself writing this, and it just, books take on a life of their own. Yeah. It feels like. So it was sort of my inspiration meets some spontaneous creative flow.
So your idea was which that's so smart, to just do this book that's a little simpler so that you could learn how to do it.
Yes.
And that's so brilliant. And then you gave that webinar where you talked about, so anybody who's watching, like, maybe I'll put in a link.
Sure. It was a beginner's lesson on how to upload a book to Amazon. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was so great. And it totally inspired me. Like, and because I have books I'm writing too. But it was so inspiring that you just really simplified. Because even
I'm glad.
I work with people all the time who self-publish, but I'm or kind of intimidated by it myself sometimes. So it was great. You just really simplified.
Yeah. So I mean, above all, I wouldn't say I don't care about this book, but compared to my big book, so to do this process with a book that you're not so attached to at first, a workbook or a journal or a small poetry book or a short story or something, I highly recommend that. Then it takes the pressure off.
Yeah, I really like that idea.
Yeah, even if it's an ebook or a short story or something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and with people in like this genre, the wellness genre, there's so many things you could do. Just a small little book, like a little ebook, or about one particular aspect of your world.
Exactly.
So that's great. And then you have a lot of, and what my coaches have always told me is having several products available in your business
arsenal of products or whatever. Yeah,
that's a really good idea. It just diversifies everything that people can get from you, all the ways you can help people. So that's great. How many? Well, I was going to ask, how many books do you plan on writing? But you'll probably just keep writing till it's no.
I mean, I'm pretty far along on a lot of projects. I mean, almost embarrassingly so. I have several children's books. I mean, some of them are totally half baked. There's no question about or maybe even a quarter baked. But because I pursued traditional publishing for so long, I really have. I wouldn't say it's all ready to go, but I'm pretty far along on a lot. So, but I've narrowed it down to one at a time.
What do you mean by you've pursued traditional publishing?
I mean, I sent query. I was working a lot on writing children's books, and I sent like picture books for really, really little kids. And I joined SCBWI, which is the main organization for people who write children's books, and I worked on that for a solid seven years or so. And I piqued the interest of 3 agents where they really loved one of my children's books, but with those picture books, you need more than one. They're so short. You basically need 3. So they were like, we love this one, but your other 2 are, not quite. So it was and one woman my book was sitting in her maybe pile for 6 months. So I just know intuitively, I know I came darn close, but it didn't, there's a lot of hoops to jump through. That's kind of what I mean.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. I get that.
Yeah.
It is kind of a full-time job.
Yeah.
So how long did it take you to write this book?
The first iteration, which is quite different. It honestly went from idea to published in 3 weeks.
Oh, whoa.
I don't necessarily recommend that for everyone, but I sometimes just breaking the rules for me really does that. But to really fine tune it and get it where it's being used in recovery programs and people are buying it for Christmas, they wouldn't have bought the first version. So I would say I'm going to estimate 3 months to really get it as smooth and as polished as I could. Yeah.
So what was your writing process like? Okay, so you wrote it pretty quickly.
Yes.
Did you what was your habit? Did you write every morning?
That's a good question. When the juice is there, there's kind of nothing that can stop me. Like I'll wake up at 2 a.m. and I'm like, I'll go. I like to print a lot. So, I like to go out I'm in San Francisco, so I'll go out to Golden Gate Park and I really recommend it gives you, even if you just print 10 pages, if you want to save the paper for me, it gives me a whole new perspective to hold the paper. So I'll alternate between holding the paper and making little notes in the margins, and then I go back home and I integrate it. So, if you need a little bit of willpower, okay, every day at 7:30 to 8:15, I'm gonna go for it. That's fine. But for me, it's just like, when it's there, it's there. When it's not there, I don't force it. That's usually when I'm in more of a reading mode. I'll take a break or focus on something else. So I'm not a big, a little bit of willpower and discipline, but for me, it either comes naturally or I don't force it.
So did you do much research in this particular book?
A little bit, but not a lot. I sort of scoped out the competition I looked for
market research.
I did a little bit of that.
In terms of the content though, because did you do much research around that?
In some ways I've been researching that all my life. It's such like, this came natural. It would be like if I needed a gratitude book that helps you attract your desires in a simple way for 3 minutes a day or whatever, what would I? So it was distilling everything I've studied and everything that's worked for me. So I did a little bit, but it was kind of like, this has been my path.
You already knew. Yeah, it was already in here.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Let's see, what other questions I have. So,
these are great questions. Doing good, Kim.
Thanks. So tell us about the publishing journey. So, you kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, but how did you decide? So you had been trying to place books with traditional publishers, and then you decided, I'm going to self-publish. How did that process go for you?
It was a few things. One of them was, there was a dark night of the soul that did happen. I was like I said, I was working on children's picture books, and I had a pretty tight knit group of critique partners, and in a very short time, 7 of my critique partners got agents or publishing deals.
Oh.
And I was on one level, of course, I was happy for them.
Yeah.
But on another level, it was like, man, I helped them write their books. And why is this not happening for me? It was like, it was literally in like 4 months. They were like, I got a deal. I got this. And, it's a big, for those who don't know, it really is a time to celebrate. It's like winning the lottery. Yeah. But it's sort of, it sent me into a little bit of a like, man, and I mean, what they wrote was good, but some of it was like, mine are just as good.
Yeah.
So that was a piece of it. And then I honestly saw one post from someone where they were talking about self-publishing that put me over the edge. They just said, someone was talking about self-publishing and they said, what? Why do the gatekeepers have to decide? Let's let the readers decide. And that was an epiphany moment. I was like, yeah, I had been giving my power away to these gatekeepers, and the handful of decision makers.
Yeah.
And so I woke up. So it was this combination of sort of my dreams of a traditional publisher felt like they were crashing down, and the possibility of really self-publishing and having no stigma on that. I think 20 years ago there used to be a stigma, and I let go of that stigma. So, and finally I was just like, I'd rather have it out there than wait 20 more years. So it was a combination of things, and I just decided to go for it. Yeah.
I think that in this day and age, it's easier than ever.
Yes.
To go ahead and self-publish. That's great. I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah, exactly. And then I've gotten more and more excited about it. It's kind of like, unless you're Stephen King or Deepak Chopra or whatever, the big companies, I don't know. I don't want to, I'm not, sometimes that's right. I mean, there really are pros and cons to both paths. I mean, I've now embraced self-publishing, but I don't want to, you have to choose. Each person listening to this needs to, it's really a business decision which way you want to go to. So I'm a little biased towards self-publishing because I've just embraced that, but in the bigger picture, that's not right for everyone. So I really mean that whoever's listening needs to just find their path.
Yeah. And self-publishing I've seen this happen where it is actually a path to getting a book contract, because it can help you, because publishers want authors who maybe have a platform, have a reach, and so a self-published book can actually get you that, and then you can go on and deal with the gatekeepers. There's so many different ways to publish these days.
And every now and then someone has a runaway hit with self-publishing, and then it somehow you might know more. They change the rights or republish it under a different company.
Yeah, so lots of options these days. So, what were some of the challenges? Well, I mean, you've talked about some, but what were some of the challenges with getting the book written and self-published?
Yeah, I think because I kind of stubbornly did this on my own, and I wanted to just do it as inexpensively as possible. The formatting and the cover was a stumbling block for me. Like I've now learned a lot, but the very first version, I don't know how well you can see this, but it came out. This is now I think this is called the gutter of the book.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know that, and it came out so close to the gutter that you had to like open it really wide, and I'm like, I didn't realize that until it had already been printed. So, how is someone going to write in a journal if they have to like?
Well, people end up having to break the spine.
Exactly. So that was a challenge, and then even getting the cover right. Amazon has a fairly user friendly way to just upload a cover. There are several ways, but that was clunky for me. It was just, I'm not saying it's that difficult, but it was new for me.
Right.
And I just, it didn't fit right. And then sometimes it would fit, but then it wouldn't, it was blurry, and you have to have a really high resolution picture. So, in truth, if you can hire someone to do a cover and do the formatting, that's by far the best. But I had to learn that as I went.
Yeah, it's something that I see a lot with people who are doing it for the first time. That formatting part is just there's so many little things that we don't know about if we're not trained or designers. So yeah,
I know.
So then you did that, and then you did you order? Do you order proofs? Is that how that works?
Well, I was so in this mode of I'm going for it that I actually hit publish before I even ordered a proof copy. I was just throwing caution to the wind, but I don't necessarily recommend that.
Yeah, because you could probably have caught the gutter thing.
Yes, yeah. So
you wanted to get it done.
I wanted to get it done.
But like that too. I'm like, I can get impatient with like that.
Yeah, I know. But I was doing that more or less on purpose. I really had decided that this is my learn how to do it book, my learn as I go. So it was okay,
Right. Yeah. That's what you said you were going to do, and you did.
Yeah, exactly.
You have the mistakes, and then you fix them. And
I know, and I have learned so much from this. Like, I really feel like I've gotten a lot of mistakes out of the way, and I've learned a lot. Yeah.
It's interesting to me that because you talk about manifestation in your work, and that it was like the universe was going, no. These people are going to get publishing contacts. You're going to learn how to do it yourself.
Yes, exactly.
So, whole new career.
Yes.
Anything else you can think of that was challenging?
Oh, let's see. You mean during the publishing process?
Anything that you weren't expecting that was hard, or
I got to admit, it's been harder than I thought to get reviews. Like, I've literally had people write to me saying, wow, this is really good. This is like they gave me an off the cuff review. I mean, it's, without tooting my own horn, for a gratitude journal, people are really having breakthroughs with this. But to get them to actually write a review on Amazon has been harder than I would have thought. They're coming. So I've since learned that, number one, a lot of people don't actually know how to leave a review. They're embarrassed that they just don't know how. Some people truly mean well and like, yeah, Michael, sure, happy to do that. But then it's not their priority. So, I've gotten some, I think I have 18 or 19 reviews, but I would have expected a few more. So, given how many I've sold, I've currently sold about 170 copies of this.
But you'd think half of those people.
I know, I would have thought. But
that's weird about Amazon, though. I've heard is that if people don't regularly purchase things from Amazon, it won't actually let them review.
It's true. You have to spend $50 a year or something like that. It's true. So there could be some well-meaning people that genuinely tried to leave me a review but couldn't do it. So that was one thing.
Okay. Do you have it listed anywhere else where people can leave reviews, or like Goodreads or anything like that?
I haven't done that yet. I think it is technically on Barnes and Noble. Maybe the hardcover might be on Barnes and
there's a hardcover?
But I just haven't. I've been so focused on Amazon because it really is the gorilla in this space that I haven't. I haven't focused so much. But I Goodreads is kind of on my radar list, but I just haven't done that yet.
So there's a lot out there.
I know.
So that was my next question, was about the marketing. How's that going? What are you doing?
Yeah. I'm experimenting with some things. I think one thing that really is working is I'm mailing free copies to select organizations and people, and I'm really researching them. I'm not doing any kind of random thing. Like, for example, I found it's a gratitude journal. So I found a nonprofit that with the word gratitude, I think it was called Gratitude in Action, and they help people. They have they raise money for people in recovery. They do a bunch of things. And I just wrote them a heartfelt letter, and I just said, I've written a book. Would you like a free copy? I think it would fit well with your mission. And they said, sure. And then I mailed them actually 2 free. This is my tip. I got this from a book, is if you're going to mail out a free copy, you might actually mail out 2 free copies, like to the person, like, here's one as a gift for yourself and one to do what you want with in your organization or your store or to whatever. And people remember that. So people then they put the word out for you. It's just a natural trade. So I'm doing that. That feels like it's a slow and steady thing where you mail out or leave a copy to a select place, but you've really got to research them and write them a tailor-made letter. Like, wow, I love that blog post you wrote on gratitude, or if I were writing you, wow, that presentation you gave on how to find a good editor or whatever really was helpful. I've written a book, similar, and your blog post, you just got to give them an honest compliment. And then, wow, can we do a trade, or can I send you a free copy? And, if you like it, maybe mention it to your group or that kind of thing. So you're basically I'm basically looking for win-wins. There's no competition. There's just collaboration.
You're actually helping. The book is going to help them or their
yes. That's what it is. That's the heart of it. It's not marketing. It's just I'm just finding the people that could use this. Yeah.
That's what I tell people. Marketing is just building community. It's just reaching out to your people and helping them.
So I've done some things that I feel have really worked, and then I've tried some other things. I've tried some ads where I'm paying for ads, and those kind of work. But what I have heard is you really need 2 books to make it really work, because then people go, ooh, I like this gratitude thing. What else does Michael Alperstein have?
So the thing that's working the best is reaching out to people.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
What else have you been doing?
I have gone into stores. In my local place. I've mostly published on Amazon. The hardcover is with Ingram Sparks, which is a friend to retail stores, but Amazon is not. But you can sell it on consignment. So I have a few stores that are where I walked in, and I find most store owners, they want to help the little people. They're if you just go in and go, hey, I published a book on healing, or I published a book on business or whatever, and I'm excited, and would you consider carrying it in your store? 9 out of 10 store owners are going to be like, sure, and so I've pounded the pavement, and that's
what are some of the bookstores in San Francisco that
like crystal and healing shops, and candle shops,
perfect for
and little what are they? Stationery stores. So where they sell blank gratitude journals and things. So you've got to, whatever your topic is, there might be more out there. You've got to think outside the box. Like maybe it's little gas station stores or hospital gift shops, or I don't know, it just depends. So it's really forced me to think, like, what else sells this stuff? That it depends what your topic is, but there might be more out there than you. It's not. Don't just think bookstores. Think like baby shops or whatever. I don't know.
I mean, Whole Foods has a whole book section on nutrition and
Yes,
you know, so
yes,
yeah,
exactly. And you never know. And so okay, so here's another obstacle is some of the stores I went into, the person I spoke to really wanted to help me, but their hands were tied. It was run at a corporate level. They were just like, even if you wrote the best book in the world, I'm not the buyer.
yeah.
So I ran into that in a few places. But the small stores are usually happy to help. So.
Yeah, that's fabulous. Great idea.
Yeah.
Think outside the box.
Yes. And so, okay, so here's the Michael's other marketing tip.
Yep.
I got this
my next question anyways.
From some other book, so I can't take credit for this, but it comes back to the win-win idea. So in my latest iteration, and there may be another revision, but I have at the back of the book, I have recommended resources.
Oh yeah.
And some of them are like people who've inspired me, Eckhart Tolle, or whatever. But I have a new friend named Susie Jones who is just about to publish a book, a channeled book, and so her website is now listed here, and it's just a friendly exchange where it gives her a little incentive to maybe mention my book to her list, and I mention her book. So, so you can have I don't think you would want like a huge resource list, because that would look funny if you had like 2,000 of my closest friends,
Right, every single thing anybody's ever
Right. But if you have like 15, obviously complementary businesses where you're doing a trade, they put it out and you put out their book, that helps.
I don't know, totally. Borrowing other people's audiences. So
yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So then they mentioned it on their blog, or they
exactly.
Maybe you do that on yours. And totally. That's great.
And ideally, I think you said this. Ideally, you have something so good that it really just naturally spreads. And I've had some of that. I've had some people go, "Wow, this was really good. Michael just wrote a gratitude journal, and I'm loving it." So that's the best. I mean, kind of word.
But the organic, like you still have to. People still have to find out about, like.
Yes.
So it can be the best book in the world, but if nobody knows about it, it's not going to do anything. So you actually do have to get out. But that's such a great success story. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not raking it in yet, but I'm learning a lot, and it's getting out there, and I'm building a foundation is how I feel. And I'm these stores that I've made I'm making relationship. Business is about relationships. So, 6 months from now or whatever, when my next book comes out, they'll remember me. And, I think it's a lot about relationships.
It's all about relationships.
Great.
So what do you think? I know you're working on, well, you said you were working on a few books, but I think you were working on one specifically. What are you going to do differently? What do you think you're going to do differently?
That's a good question. I'm not going to totally throw caution to the wind and just I'm gonna publish this one.
You're still gonna self-publish?
I'm still gonna self-publish, but I'm gonna have some more ducks in a row when I finally hit that publishing button. I'm gonna probably have some interviews lined up the first 30 days, and I'm gonna get the formatting as good as I can, where I'm not gonna, like this one, I really just published it and then I'm fixing the mistakes. This one, I'm gonna make it as clean as I can, Yeah.
No, that's great. That's so exciting, because now it's like, because since you've sort of learn the mystery of the
Yes.
Amazon publishing.
Yeah.
You can just, it's the sky's the limit. You can just do whatever you want.
It is. It is. And this one, this one is a broader topic where I could talk for hours. The gratitude book, it's a beautiful slice of what I'm sharing. But at a certain point, it's like how much I'm twiddling my thumbs. There's only so much I can talk about. But the next one, it's like, whoa, I can really go to town with interviews and podcasts or whatever it is. Yeah.
So how much planning are you doing? So you're what stage are you at with?
That's a good question. I have a solid first draft of it. We're just
okay. So I was curious. So then you are starting to do some. So you are thinking about marketing. You've got a first draft.
Yeah.
Thinking about marketing, because I think that is the way to do it, is to think about it before.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think in some ways I haven't quite reached out to anyone yet about the new, but it's a little too early for that. But I do feel that any effort I do with this gratitude book, the funny thing is, I've never said this to anyone, but it's almost like, even though this is the only book that's currently out, in my heart, they're both being energized right now. So it's like, as I work on this gratitude book, I really feel I'm paving the way for the next book. So at least they're blending for me.
No, because the way to do it is to keep writing, and then you have, like I was saying before, you have this whole diversity of resources that you can offer people.
Yes.
And that it's not only are you you're just able to help more people that way than you could ever do with seeing clients for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
So, that's great. I'm so happy for you. I really enjoyed watching this.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really an exciting time, and it was a long time coming, because I sort of did so much behind the scenes for many years. So, but now
you're like preparing,
I know. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's great. So, well, congrats. So, do you have anything? I'm gonna put I'll put your website and everything, and wherever people can, and titles. We can talk about that later. But is there anything else you want to tell people about anything?
Let's see. Just breathe, remember to breathe. It is easy to get overwhelmed with, how do I do this? And I gotta be on TikTok. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. And it's like, I've gotten to the point where I'd rather do 2 or 3 things with really a lot of heart and depth and quality than rush and do 15 things where I'm feeling stressed and it's not working. So do one thing each day, if I can maybe send one email, or I write one page, and let that be enough. You put your heart into that one thing so well that you will feel more accomplished than doing so many things,
and less stressed and anxious. And,
I
always tell people, when you're doing marketing, especially like around social media, which can be really just so challenging. You don't have to do every social media platform. Just find one you actually like and use that and get good at that, and just
exactly.
Like, marketing is great, but you don't want to lose your entire life.
No.
You're writing books to help yourself live the life you want to. You don't want to. Yeah, that's great.
Exactly. Yeah, that's not worth it. The stress that comes. I'm all for stretching yourself. I'm not saying, but I'm just at this point where
also rest.
Rest and be yourself. Truly, I mean, it's a cliche, but it's like, you and I think before we even went on the air, you just said something like, this is just a conversation. it's like that's what's going to sell books and bring you joy on the journey, instead of being someone that you're not. So,
yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. That's a fabulous message. Really appreciated that you took the time to chat.
My pleasure. Yeah. Thank you, Melissa.